Morning, good morning. Back again with my Palo Santos. My Palo Santo. And I got on my shirt my nephew made me. I think I wore this shirt before on camera. He started doing, my nephew's a little hustler. He started making t-shirts a couple years ago. Um, so yeah, I got some pretty good feedback yesterday when I burnt the Palo Santo on camera. So I'm gonna do it again. And like I said, I do this every morning before I start writing. The time right now is 6:15, almost the same time it was yesterday. Excuse me. I want to talk a little bit this morning about the rapper C Murder. I got some information, and I'll play it. Ooh, the smoke. I got some information off of Hip Hop News Uncensored. Oh God. And I mentioned before that I am a huge, well, not as much these days, but I used to be a huge hip hop fan. I still am a hip hop fan. It's just the hip hop is so different these days. But I was a huge No Limit fan because when I was in the military, No Limit was the absolute. I mean, it was absolutely necessary to be a No Limit fan. Like I said, I got this. I'll just leave the camera right here. Shout out to Hip Hop News Uncensored. I'm just gonna pick it up where I paused it at. Hope a commercial don't come on.
Hey, my name is Maxwell.
Commercial.
You've probably seen my YouTube channel as I talk about video marketing for your business. I have three
now, right? Pretty much. It's a 31-page document. Unknown. Now, Miller system. He said the video. Also, make sure you guys sign up for channel memberships. I'll leave the link right at the top line of the description box. Now, he's claiming pretty much that the DNA at the time was run through CODIS, which is short for pretty much a DNA indexing system. He said a match was found, but the district attorney at the time directed that the genetic data be taken out of the system and marked as a forensic unknown. Now, Miller is now asking, and always has been, for a full investigation into the corruption that led to his current incarceration. Now, we remember, key witnesses coming out saying that they were coerced to say certain things, and that's certain things that really didn't happen. Now, right, pretty much, it's a 31-page document, right, and the motion that he filed with the court down there in New Orleans, Louisiana, right, he says the courts are apparently fighting against the release of these documents. So he wants these documents unsealed. The court doesn't want them. And he goes on to say, right, this is what we got to go, and we got to get into the mind and put yourself in his position, because we all want to be tried right in the system. They say justice, but is it really justice? If it's something that's been taken out, we need to know what that is, right? So he goes on to say, half my life has been stolen by the Louisiana judicial system, and it stops now. This is from C Murder. Now, the press release, right? Here's some more bombshell to this press release, right? The press release also states that the No Limit rapper, who is currently being housed at the Hunt Correctional Center in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, has begun a hunger strike in protest of the medical neglect that he and the other inmates have been facing since the pandemic.
So apparently, C Murder is still fighting his case, and there seems to be some negligence on the with the paperwork, the DNA files or whatever he wants to release. He wants he wants basically to go back in and look at some things that were thrown out. He's saying it's some negligence. He's on a hunger strike now, and C. Murder has been in prison for quite some time. It's quite for me. It's I have never known of any other celebrity who's been in prison this long. Even though he's a rapper, uh, his brother Master P said a long time ago that he wanted his brother to change his name. He wanted Corey Miller is his name. His real name is Corey Miller, and I guess he calls himself C Murder because of his first name. But I think Master P said he spoke to Minister Louis Farrakhan about the name, and the name, names can bring about certain things in your life. You can manifest certain things in your life. So Master P wanted him to change his name from C Murder to something else because obviously C Murder, not the letter C, but when you say the name C Murder, it's like the word SEE, murder. So he was kind of fearful that he would somehow manifest murder into his life, and this was before any of this happened, before he was charged for murder and went to prison. And I guess C Murder kind of brushed it off and did not, he didn't pay any attention to it, and he did not change his name, as you can see. And so he ended up going to prison, and he's been in prison since the early 2000s, I think, or maybe. Oh wow, I can't even remember, but it was a while ago. I was young. I mean, I was maybe I would think I was in my 20s when he went to prison, or early 30s. I mean, I was young. So he's been in prison for quite some time. And now he's still fighting to get out. He's on a hunger strike. And before I go any further, like I said, this shirt is my last book cover, and my nephew made this shirt. And I didn't say that. I said he made the shirt, but I didn't tell you what was on the shirt. This is the last book that I wrote. This is the cover to it. So yeah, I'm gonna play a little bit more, and then I got to get back to writing.
Off. Now he goes on to say, he alleges that since the onset of the virus, that they are continuing to place inmates that have tested positive for the virus in a dorm with inmates that are negative. He also goes to say, that he has not only spread the virus, but has not only spread the virus, but has caused long-term quarantine time. He goes on to say, while quarantined, the inmates are on constant lockdown and not allowed to leave the dorm to receive fresh air. The tests that they provide are not up to standard, and they are given erroneous results. So pretty much saying they don't know who really has it, who doesn't. And there are many inmates that have ailments that are properly treated as a result and have died after contracting the virus because of the flawed system that they allegedly have down there in that prison. Now, it goes on to say, I believe that the world should know what is occurring here and that their loved ones deserve to know the truth. So just a quick recap real quick, a 31-page sealed document that they want unsealed, they want brought out. And he's claiming that this document holds the key to his freedom. So, I mean, my mind is kind of going. It's like maybe DNA, it was somebody else's DNA that they took out because they wanted to pin it on him. This is where I'm going. I'm not sure exactly, what it is, but I've been keeping track of this story for a couple of years now, and I've been seeing how this thing develops and new evidence comes out, but it doesn't seem like, it's getting any leeway in this. Now, the thing is with a motion, it has to be approved. The motion has to be approved. It's pretty much a petition. You're asking the court in writing to do something. You're moving the court to do something.
So yeah, C Murder's been in prison for quite some time, and his brother's Master P. So a lot of people are wondering why hasn't P gotten him out, and it's never that easy, especially when I believe that C Murder has been made an example of. That's my personal opinion. I think the court systems there in Louisiana are looking at his case, and they're looking at who his brother is, who he's affiliated with. Louisiana's a southern state. Um, Master P is a multi-millionaire. I believe that maybe he's being made an example of. But that's all I want to say this morning. I thought it was something that people, people who may know who C Murder is and may have been wondering what he's been doing. And oh, before I go, if you saw, like I said, I used to be a hip hop head. I still love hip hop, but the hip hop these days is not nearly as good as what it was back in the '90s. If you saw the versus battle between the Lox and Dipset, oh man, I hadn't seen all of it yet, but I've seen enough. The Lox are still. I guess what I saw between those two sets is that the Lox had a tighter. They had a tighter all-around performance, and I don't mean for that versus. I mean overall, throughout the years, show after show, they had a tighter. They had to have a tighter because it was evident on that stage than Dipset. Dipset was more. Cameron was kind of stand back. He wasn't really. His energy wasn't the same as Jadakiss. Jadakiss brought it. Styles P brought it. Sheik Luch, all of them, all three of them. Those guys. It was only 3 guys on stage for the Lox, but those guys brought it like they were an army brigade. And Jim Jones. Shout out to all of them. Dipset. Shout out to the Lox. But those guys, they definitely took that L, Dipset, and I got more ties with Harlem than any place. When I was 13 years old, was the first time I went to Harlem, New York. Got jumped by 5 boys and 2 dogs that summer, but that was the best summer I can think of. I mean, that was the best summer I can think of. I didn't get beat up. This country boy showed those 5 boys and those 2 dogs what I was made of. There was one boy on a bicycle. He was the oldest one. And like I said, 2 dogs. I kicked the dog in the mouth. One of the dogs was a big dog and a little dog. I kicked the big dog in the mouth, knocked out one of his teeth. And after I did that, the dog owner, the boy that owned the dog, he was told by another boy to punch me. So I'm looking at these 5 boys, 2 dogs, and my little country ass with some sandals on. I didn't have sneakers on. I had on sandals because I was poor. I was coming from South Carolina. I was poor. All I remember is after, the boys was trying to actually put hands on me. All I remember is taking off down the street, and it was at nighttime, so all of the street lights blended together as one beam of light as I was going down the street. And I remember kids sitting on the stoop, laughing and whatnot. And when I look back, when I got to the end of the street and looked back before I made that right to go back on Bradhurst, I looked back and there was nobody behind me. No dogs, no bicycle, no boys. I mean, I left them, and they were chasing me. I had never ran so fast in my life, and I was 13 years old. I wasn't trying to get beat up by 5 boys and bit up by 2 dogs, So yeah, that's my Harlem, New York story. It's my Harlem, New York story, the short version. But yeah, Harlem. So Dipset was Harlem. They represented Harlem, and normally I'm a Dipset guy. I love it. I love both the groups, but the Lox brought it, and I got to get back to writing. So let me go. Y'all have a wonderful what the day is. Thursday? Is it Thursday already? Yeah. Y'all have a wonderful Thursday. I'll talk to you later. And be blessed.